Today is Sunday, November 6th, 2025. Welcome to the TPO ITS committee meeting, and do I get to call it to order first? Yep, I call it to order. So, we doing introductions first, or do we do roll call?
We kind of switched out of doing roll calls and just kind of going around the room seems to be enough.
We can do the same at the same time. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Did we introduce the audience too?
One time.
So,
Okay. Well, I guess we'll start here. I'm Margaret Kibelens. I'm with the city of Tampa.
Brian Zayas, Hillsborough County.
yeah, Herbie G with City of Plant City.
Judith Villegas, Tampa Hillsborough Expressway Authority.
Gina Torres, I'm the Assistant Director for the TPO and your former liaison, because your new liaison.
And I'm Harry Walsh with Hillsborough TPO. I'm the incoming ITS liaison. So nice to meet some of you.
Excellent, thank you. Should we introduce the audience?
How about
Rafael Edidas, Hillsborough County TNC. Wade Reynolds, TPO staff.
Angela Rao, Kittleson and Associates?
Johnny Wong, CPO director.
Thank you. And let's circle around to the online audience.
Dexter?
Yep, Dexter Corbin from Hart.
Achilles?
Achilles Cortellis from the Center for Urban Transportation Research at USF.
Joseph?
Joe Molinaro with Iteris.
And Venkat?
Yeah, Venkat with Hillsborough County Traffic Operations or Traffic Transportation Engineering. So
Excellent, thank you. Should go through all TPO staff, just the end, it's TPO staff as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Looks like we have a good agenda before us today. So does that give us a quorum?
Yes.
That does give us a quorum in the room.
Okay, that's great. That means we are open to having, we can vote and approve some minutes and so on and so forth. Okay, so our next phase in the agenda is to address the public comments. Do we have anyone that is interested in speaking for 3 minutes?
No.
None online? Okay, well, given that, we'll just continue to proceed. All right, so don't we have 2 sets of minutes we need to approve? So we have let's start with the May 8th minutes. And the reason why we're having to approve those minutes this go around is because last month we did not have a quorum. So did all the members have an opportunity to review the minutes from May 8th?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, are there any comments in regard to those? Any changes?
No.
Okay, with that, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion to approve the minutes, Brian Zayas.
Second.
With that, all in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None being heard, the minutes pass. Secondly, for the August 7th minutes, those were distributed as well. So did everyone have an opportunity to receive those and review the minutes? Yes.
They're available virtually in the agenda packet if you have not seen it.
Any comments or changes? Okay, none being heard. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Approve, Judith.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, with that, we have a motion. Everyone in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None being heard, the motion passes. Thank you. Okay, so we have one agenda item or action item on the agenda. So it's the 2026 draft meeting calendar. Harry?
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, can everyone see this or do I need to zoom in a little bit?
Let me help. Just a little bit. Okay.
So this is the calendar for the TPO board meetings and all of the committees. The ITS is the second from the right, so we'll maintain that being at 1:30 PM on Thursdays. As usual, we'll be quarterly, so we'll have 4 meetings this year, or this coming year. February, May, August, and November, matching the schedule that we had for 2025. So the first would be February 5th, then May 7th, then August 6th, and then November 5th. The only thing I have to add before discussion is EPC did reach out to us and they cannot be here for this meeting today. And they also said they cannot make the May 7th date, but are open to any others. So we will be down at least one member for quorum on that particular meeting. If you want to look into changing that, I do have other dates that this room is available. So with that, open to discussion if anyone has any thoughts. Questions?
Are we at risk at missing anything relative to, board meetings or county commissioner if we shift the meeting?
So the one thing is it would put ITS after the May TPO meeting on the 13th if we moved into the 14th. So any item that was going for the board, ITS would not be able to comment. So that is the one thing that you lose if you move it later in that.
Okay,
Can we consider moving into a Thursday for those dates? Would that make a
or
difference?
Wednesday.
Or Wednesday?
We are on
That's right,
Thursday.
Wednesday or Tuesdays, yes.
Yeah, we absolutely can consider it. There might be a few more conflicts for this room, but I can get back to you with what dates will be available for Wednesdays. I made sure to check that the Thursdays room, but find other options for you.
Just
Okay,
for context, I think the only time I remember this committee ever changing a date was because you had like almost all of you were going to the same conference, like it was some IT conference or something. So other than that, they can be changed also after you've approved this calendar if something comes up.
And-
okay.
So go ahead.
Well, that would be my biggest concern is that we would be, after the board meeting. Based on our actions, we'd like to provide the input. I do remember having that conversation maybe 2 years ago. So, why don't we leave it as is? And as we get closer, we'll see how that plays out. Why don't we do that? Are you okay with that?
I agree with that.
All right. Are there any comments from online? Okay, with none being heard,
Then we're looking for a motion to approve the calendar for 2026.
do you have a motion to approve the calendar as presented?
Motion. Motion to approve the calendar.
Second, that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the calendar. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Oops, sorry. Any opposed? None being heard, motion passes. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now our status reports. Let's see, we have 4. Looking forward to these. So the first status report that we have is Hillsborough County Transportation Systems Management and Operations Master Plan. Raphael?
This one's been in the work for quite some time. You guys hear me well?
Okay, this one.
Weekend for sure.
Good to go? All right.
Yes, please go.
All right, so, I won't go over the acronyms, but again, whenever you guys have the chance to go over the presentation, I think you guys are very familiar with it, so just wanted to let you guys know that all the terminologies are here. Again, this master plan took us about 3 years with the help of our consultants and sub-consultant team. Again, we took what the TPO worked with the county prior to us actually getting to the county. So they had a 5-year strategic plan. They labeled the plan as operate. And we took that as a baseline. And again, this is how we developed the program, the master plan, sorry. And again, we took it from there analyze the DOT District 7 TSMO master plan. And again, all the stakeholder plans around. Again, our mission, again, is to implement innovative, sustainable, and secure data-driven solutions to address the incidents and unplanned events, establishing clear and measurable KPIs, while maintaining the system's functionality and in the same time improve multimodal mobility and connectivity, while developing the comprehensive programmatic approach. Again, the vision, we aim to innovate and enhance that mobility in the region with access and benefits to all users, improving the quality of life, economic vitality, while operating and maintaining a safe, resilient, sustainable, and efficient system. Again, this is how the plan that came, again, more than 5 years ago. We started, I like to reiterate, we took it as a baseline, and again, it was a good plan. And again, we were able to move it forward based on this. Again, most of this, it's already in motion. It's been in motion for quite some time, optimizing the operation and preserving and sustaining, on enhancing the system, responding to incidents and emergencies, advising and inform, educating, training, informing, and again, equip the system for emerging technologies. Again, we mapped out that same acronym against the objectives, right? Which again is part of enhancing that safety, operation, optimizing the operation, and prioritizing equity, ensure sustainable transportation systems. Again, fostering that collaborative partnership, fostering innovation and technology advancement, data-driven decision-making, and maintaining system functionality and data security. So again, we went through it, analyzed what the entire region was doing, and it allowed us to move forward based on this. Now, we looked at it from what we already have and what's going to be doable, right? What's going to allow us to move forward. In that sense, now from what we had, again, we had a legacy central system, which is called traffic aware TMS now, and those traffic aware controllers, again, countywide was the same system for more than 15 years. So the proposal was to move forward with a new central system that, took us about 2-3 years to put the RFP and all the ideas together, evaluation and so on. Right now, we are moving forward with a new central system. We decided to move with the vendor named Q3, and their central system is cloud-based, which is Kinetic Mobility, and their Q3 controllers. Now, we had about 6% of the intersections with lack of detection systems. What we're proposing is to move forward with non-intrusive detection, utilize that technology to our advantage. Again, for resiliency and being able to capture and utilize that data for, again, data-driven solutions. Right now, we are working with 78 signalized corridors where we are tracking travel time, right, using APIs. And we're utilizing that information to feed a dashboard, which will is allowing us to rate the next corridor to be retimed. Right now, what is being proposed is to feed that same information and automate that dashboard so we can rearrange the prioritization matrix for those corridors to be retimed. Work on some protocols for incident management. In the future, be able to work on the adaptive signals control technologies, and work on the SOGs for the operation and optimization of those corridors. About 30% of the intersections and right now we'll have camera. We're trying to expand that CCTV coverage. We're also working on replacing the video management system. Again, it's also a legacy system. It's been on par with the ATMS. So again, it was about time to replace. Also try to try to share that, those video feeds with, Florida 511, right? So we can also have a holistic, overview of the intersections aside from the freeways. Also, again, it's proposed information management, data sharing among the TMCs. Right now, from the diversion routes, we have specific corridors with diversion plans where we can override the signal timings. Our proposal was to expand to county roads because right now the focus been, with the help of FDOT, it's been to tackle those truck routes and specific corridors that where we have a lot of congestion and are used as diversion routes from the freeway. But we want to be able to expand to the county corridors as we move forward. Again, utilizing, if possible, utilizing AI for that decision making. For the preservation and sustainability, right now we have SOGs for permitting. Again, we want to be able to retake those SOGs, SOP specifications, and again, work across the board in most of the strategies and core services that we provide. From the battery and backup systems, we have about 14% of the system lacks either the POEV, which is the Power Outage Emergency Beacon system, or UPS battery backup systems. Again, we're working with, again, our stakeholders and partners like USF to try to establish some what do we call it? Not a prototype, but we're trying to work on a system where we can move toward full resiliency, sustainability. So again, we're trying to work also with stakeholders like FDOT, the county, try to invest and keep expanding as we keep growing. From the management of the network, we have an internal agreement with our IT department to manage the servers and network devices. Again, we're working on establishing new procedures and policies so we can upgrade everything to the latest and greatest. From the asset management side, we built a system-wide operation performance dashboard. Again, it was built in-house with our again consultants, sub-consultants support. We started on their end, using their systems. We are in the transition period to bringing it in-house, utilizing our resources. So again, it'll bring more resources from the county and involve more departments, which is great. We're bringing more people on board to help us work with such a massive system. Again, data management for operation on safety of the KPIs. Also trying to work on the vehicle to everything data exchange world, right? So the CD2X and those servers. Enhance the system, right? We've been able to reduce the amount of signals without communications by utilizing other resources through our priority and preemption project. Again, we're utilizing their FM field monitoring units which have communications, being able to balance it out and being able to reduce that to a 1% of sub-signals without communication. Again, we want to be able to not only have that as a resource, but also keep expanding on the fiber communication and have 100% coverage while reducing the amount of copper and lack of reliability on the communication side. Right now we have, this not the latest 592. We have actually 596. The entire system is covered on the preemption system. We are currently working on 2 grants from FDOT, the TAPSLA 21 and 23. We are right now we're working on the deployment of about 111 new ATC controllers from the Q3 system, right? In order to have, the ATCs and RSUs. So those 2 will be part of the in that grant. Same time, we're working with FHWA for the Attain grant. So it's in the final stage of approval. So once we get that done, we're gonna be able to move forward on, again, on deploying new infrastructure, cabinets and technology. And proposal will be to expand that system to transit, to help them with priority. And again, working on road crossing, connected and automated vehicles world. Right now, there's a the third bullet is the deployment of the system operation dashboard, right? We work in this dashboard for about 3 years now. We want to bring it to the next level, which is utilizing big data. Once we move and officially transition to the county environment and we finish those last details, again, we're going to start ingesting more information and keep working with a better decision making. Again, existing on the 4 point, we had a benefit to cost analysis for every retiming project. Right now, we're trying to work on utilizing more technology. And when it comes to our retiming corridors, we're actually not only retiming, but anytime that we make modification to a signal time, at any given time of the day, we're trying to, balance it out, the benefit of the change that we perform on a continuous basis. To respond to emergencies and incidents, when it comes to lane and road closures, we have guidelines for TTC permits. We are working towards implementing smart work zone, right, management. Also, from the existing part of the operational side, we're working towards increasing operators at the TNC. Right now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but we are a very small group trying to keep expanding the operation. That'll allow us to, work on the signal timing adjustments and on the detour routes on a daily basis. Again, reacting on the third point, we are reacting to incidents, right? And retiming efforts, we're trying to be more proactive in that sense. So when it comes to that, by having more operators, we're going to be able to react and work more proactively, making adjustments as we go, and not wait for on call somebody saying, hey, we have a major crash, through a phone call. We would like to be more proactive on that end. On the fourth point, we have the post-storm traffic signal assessment coordination that we developed in-house using Survey 123. Now we're trying to bring that again to the next level and add more information to it. So that's more to come. Also, on the last bullet point here, it's being proposed to implement near miss pilot project. We haven't worked in that environment yet, but we do have the technology deployed to move to the next level, just waiting for those vendors to start deploying that technology, right? Those analytics. From the advise and inform, we are working on the first bullet, trying to expand the APS buttons across the board, most of the signals if possible, right? It'll add passive detection, passive pedestrian detection systems. Right now we have 0. DOT is going to help us to implement the first one in the region, down in the southern part of the county. So that'll be a good test bed. See how that goes. From the second bullet point, we would like to remove the existing ADMS signs that we have that are not being utilized, and try again move towards partnering more with the navigation apps and try to provide and link all that information between the smart work zones and again everything related to temporary traffic control, again lane road closures and incident management. Evaluating origin and destination corridors for increasing that multimodal choices and promoting that to the general public. Also considering temporary shoulder use, HOV lanes, special events, and hurricane evacuation strategies. From the last point here, we have right now we are sharing our CCTV feed with HCSO, the EOC, right, the Emergency Operations Center, and the Emergency Dispatch Center. We would like to move towards sharing that video feed with, with the media and And again, 511, as we were talking earlier. Again, part of the training and education, part of it, we would like to keep expanding the staffing as I indicated earlier. We'd like to keep expanding and promoting the program as we are doing right now. Again, it took us some time, but we're getting there. To keep teaching, we are continuously going to schools and promoting, the program and how we manage traffic and so on. So there's a lot of unknown, how we run the TMC. So there's a lot of people that are curious on how it works. A lot of kids interested in traffic. That's good. Seeing that interest. Never seen it before, so it's good. Again, when the third bullet point, we have stakeholders meeting ahead of hurricane season, which, we've been doing it since we were here on the 23rd floor. But as, hurricane season comes in and it's getting more active, the TMC is the main hub for all those post-storm assessment teams, right, that work on the data collection for the traffic signals. So we're working to not only bring the internal resources, but also the consultant teams to help us, ingest all that information, try to provide as much data as possible to the signal technicians and the public, so we can have more, again, increase that resiliency and provide more information to the citizens. Again, right now, as I'm going through this, show that we were limited as for the public outreach goes, but again, we're trying to go more to and show how we work the program, go more to public events, be more active on conferences, participate and again, present what we have to bring to the table. And last but not least is equipment for emerging technologies. Now, right now, we're working on our first, not pilot, well, it will be, I guess I could call it pilot, right, Brian? And working with the first RSUs in the county, from the county deployment side, not from the FDOT side. FDOT already deployed through I4Frame some RSUs in county corridors and the city corridors. But it'll be our first take on the RSU's world. So it'll be interesting because at the same time that we are deploying the RSUs, we're working in parallel to deploy our new controllers, which will allow us to provide that SPAT data. And again, I think later on we'll be able to work on the basic safety messages and so on. So it'll be good for us to learn more about the system and see where it takes us. Right now, we went to a recent conference in Atlanta, and they gave us a good tour about how much information you can provide right through the CV2X world, and it was quite amazing, what we can do. So again, try to expand that, evaluating again, providing priority and more information to regional stakeholders. Working more on the CV world, again, as I said throughout this presentation, and later on, see if we can work on the AI, when time comes. Again, it's proposed in the future. Right now, we're very limited, and it's a buzzword right now, so we want to, let it settle down a little bit before we move forward. Again, it's a little bit on how we cross-match the acronym against the different TISMO strategies. And as you can see, it's a bunch of lines, but as you can go through the different TISMO strategies, they touch different points of our acronym. And again, it's a bunch of lines, but that lets you know that we really went through it very methodically and strategically to tackle as much as possible. So when we move forward, us being here or not, that the program keep moving forward and expanding. Again, benefits of TISMO. This is going to be the last bit, but again, as demonstrated, that it has definitely a benefit, right? Managing and operating the transportation systems will attract based on the statistics, 20% more business investment than those with poor management. Again, traffic incident management saves lives, right? We're trying to be more proactive towards it because we're trying to avoid secondary crashes. And we demonstrated that by reducing travel time and again, secondary crashes. Again, we're also working on reducing delays. At the same time that you operate and manage properly, a transportation system allows you to keep moving forward. Not spending hours and hours on a morning rush hour or an afternoon going back home. Try to speed through it. And again, from the environmental side, safety side, I think it's a no-brainer. That's the way we see it. So. I think for the last bit of presentation, I think that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Why, you said you're removing your ATMSs. Why are you moving?
We are transitioning to a cloud-based environment that will allow us to not only from the perspective of moving forward to new technology. Right now, the system that we had was very limited. We try our best to, bring improvement to the system. Well, was end of life. Almost everything was end of life, and also the controllers. So we decided to work on the way to improve the system. We decided to put a bid out there. We let the vendors work through it. We got good proposals, and this vendor allow us to see the future, right? Work on while evaluating the new technologies that were, coming down the road, like CB, ATSPMs, a more interactive cloud-based system, which will increase the resiliency of the system.
Yeah, does this master plan took into account like specific intersections throughout Hillsborough County?
Right, yes, all the intersections, so FDOTs and ours. Again, everything that we operate and maintain. Again, the city of Tampa will have a different master plan, if you will. But we also, again, consider all the stakeholders as part of it. Again, city of Tampa has a different system, which is the Econoline. Again, we also open the floor for all the vendors, which Econoline was part of it. In this case, Q3 won the bid, but again, it was properly evaluated against what we had across the board, not only city of Tampa, but also Pinellas County, Manatee, like everything around Pasco and so on. So we look at everything across the board, make sure that we were moving forward in parallel. And again, being a more equitable system, right? That we were able to work with our stakeholders, like USF. Right now, we've been able to provide access to the system through, because it's cloud-based, we've been able to provide access to USF, right? I don't know if Achilles is here, but we've been able to provide them access that they can start utilizing the data, right? The system has so much information that all the stakeholders can get use of it. Also with limited access, right? You're not going to be able to override the signal timings, but you can export information out of it that it will be a different point of view, a different use compared to us, right? So, but we want you guys to utilize it in a different sense, right? So if you want to export information out of it, you want to see how many pedestrians are getting serviced at this location because you want to bring capital improvements, the data is there. We're not restricting you from using, right? As long as you're, part of our stakeholders list, we like to utilize the data for the benefits of everyone in the county.
Yeah, I just applaud the county for getting to this and having this available. I mean, it just shows how you're being good stewards of public money. It's an exciting time to be a traffic engineer, I think, because it does give us so much more data from instrumentation that's out there on the infrastructure, but then also now there's a lot of blending with the big data and participating in connected vehicles and really helping people to use the system more effectively. yeah, we'd love to fix the crash situation, but until we're fully autonomous, I don't think that's gonna happen in our lifetime. But
Right.
anyway, but this is great. I mean, wish I could just take that and change the title and call it Tampa. It's obviously a lot's been invested here and, we are working towards, establishing, a TISMO master plan as well. We're looking at that, after the first of the year getting started. So,
Again, it took us about 3 years because there's too much to look at, right? You know, DOT has their own path and they also look at us, but again, that's where we work as agencies in parallel.
yes.
And we collaborate and we bring, information up front and, we're very transparent. This is our take on it. Again, running with our, again, I would like to reiterate our stakeholders because we get a lot of support from different partners. So it's just, again, a little team, but try to expand as the best we can with the resources that we have available.
I have a few comments. First one is, the county already had a program that they were running for their ATMS. That's what he mentioned, the Operate, basically platform. So with this TISMO, they didn't just discard that. They actually adapted the TISMO methodology and paired it to the Operate that we're doing. And they did come up with new proposed initiatives. Okay, it's a small team, and right now we're only limited by funding. So as soon as we can get more funding, then we'll continue progressing more initiatives. And as it is right now, we're moving some of those, right? The ATMS is one,
Yeah.
and there's others that you're moving.
We have the ATMS is moving forward. We are again moving forward with increasing the CCTV coverage. Every single, we have to revise our specifications. So by doing so, we've been able to get every single new CIP project to install the new technology. So we basically refreshed those specifications so that everything that is going out there for every single project, again, it brings that new technology. So everything is non-intrusive as if possible. Also, we revise the SOPs from the MOT world. And every time that we have a construction project, we're requesting the contractors as part of their TTC specifications to put temporary vehicle detection and not be loops. We don't want to have non-operational detection while they're reducing lanes and, we want to increase that efficiency and that resiliency, right? So what we've done is to revise everything across the board, every single procedure and guidelines that they had from the construction and from the new technology side, that we basically refresh everything. And from now on, it's new cabinet, new controller, new detection, everything is brand new from now on. So we don't get stuck in the legacy part of it, right? There's a lot, again, I get asked all the time from, project managers, construction teams, like, hey, we're resurfacing this approach or this intersection. Do you want to replace the loop again? Like, no loops anymore. If possible, you're gonna install those temporary vehicle detection while you're doing that, or get that new non-intrusive detection, install it before you even install the project, get that operational, and then work on the project. That takes you 1 day to install it. So again, it's to your benefit and our benefit. So we're very poignant and not stubborn, but we're trying to make it right so they can understand the benefit from the get-go. That way, they understand that it's a win-win for everyone. So again, we are about to publish not only the master plan, but also the proprietary product list, where we specify everything that we are requiring to the contractors and consultants to deploy out, in the field in all this new deployment, new design projects. And again, it's everything from the communication side, from the cabinet and their subsystems, everything is being refreshed and revised. So.
Good. Are there any questions online
None that I see.
or comments? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Number 2, or B. Next up, we have the intersection collision avoidance safety program presented to us by Angela Rose.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate this opportunity. You're talking about, as you can see, that the title is Red Light Running Crashes and Saving Lives. And really, that's what this program is all about, is saving lives. And it's interesting. It's a kind of an advanced predictive approach to dealing with potential crashes. So I see at the bottom there, I'm noting that I was a former manager of traffic operations for the city of Lakeland from 2015 to 2021. So a lot of my comments are associated with that experience and some updated knowledge from talking to the city of Lakeland folks and the District 1 FDOT folks. So thank you for having me. Yeah, Intersection Collision Avoidance Safety Program, or we nicknamed it ICAS. And of course, there's no trademark or anything. It just doesn't, something we chose. So it's kind of interesting and fit. One thing that we added as the process continued was to talk about connected autonomous vehicles as well. And you'll see me talk a little bit about that as we progress. So I can't resist how this all started. This is kind of my personal story. That is my alleged Honda Fit. I had to clip it in there. Of course, that Honda Fit is not actually there in that street view shot. But pretend that's really me in my Honda Fit. And so I'm minding my own business, going to work and I'm on Massachusetts Avenue at US 92 southbound. I get to a red light, and I happen to notice something on my seat, so I put my car in park and had to deal with it. And then I got a polite beep, and the polite beep was that, hey, the red turned green. And most people are kind of polite about that. They do a gentle beep. And if you can imagine, most folks, this is an unscientific study, wait about a second and a half to do the polite beep. Something like that, something in that order, right? So if you could do the head count for me, I would really appreciate that. So at a second and a half, I react, oh my gosh. And so I put my foot on the brake and then start to go to drive. And so we're probably now another second and a half, maybe three and a half seconds, depending on what you want to talk about. And then I proceed, because now, hey, I have a full green, right? In fact, I have now a 3 or 4 second green. I'm in delay right now. So perpendicular to me was a fully loaded beer truck that decided to, well, find a route of his own or her own and cross the intersection on red. Now remember, I'm at 4 seconds already, and I haven't even crossed the stop bar yet. So I proceed, you can see what happened there. I stopped about 1 meter away from the truck that blew through at about the 5.5 second mark. It's only because I happened to have my brakes refinished the week before that I came to that stop. So imagine I went from oh gosh, I better get going maneuver, foot on the gas, to a direct stop in those few seconds. And it was just an absolute miracle that I was able to stop and not be struck by the truck. If I was struck by the truck, I probably wouldn't be here, frankly, because I'm sure that they were doing around 55 miles an hour because they just whizzed right by me after I stopped. So I figured that, as someone in the business, run a transportation division, maybe there's something I can do about this. I was rattled when I got back to the office. It was pretty obvious that I was pretty rattled after that. And we started having a conversation about that. And so we were, sorry about that. So we thought that maybe there's something we can do. So I started investigating a little bit more. Now this is, of course, 2023 data. At the time, it was 2019. So the numbers were slightly lower. But we're currently about 1,000, a little over 1,000 folks, unfortunately, are killed in red light running crashes in the country, and almost 140,000 serious injuries, as you can imagine. Typically a T-bone occurs, and that's a big number. If you do the math, I don't have the specificity of the data for Hillsborough County. If you do the computational math, it works out to be approximately 10 injuries a week in Hillsborough County, subject to a further analysis. That would require a little bit more number crunching to make sure, but in that order, it's about 10, some degree of injury a week in Hillsborough County, approximately. And obviously that's 10 too many. So I'm going to share with you a few scenes here that kind of put the icing on the cake for me that we have to do something. It's not just about Angelo. This is about my city at the time, City of Lakeland, what's going on. So these are real videos. Oh, sorry. I wonder if this is the PDF version.
This is the PDF version.
Yeah. I'm sorry, did you mind, Harry, because it really, it's in there, I think it may just click the wrong, would you mind, please? I apologize for that. Yeah, because there is a live version. Oh, maybe it was, yeah, I think it was something, yeah, sorry about that. My bad.
It saved it, maybe it got.
That looks like it, I guess. Oh, that's awesome, thank you so much, yeah, sorry about that. Great, yeah, oh, perfect.
Is it still sharing? Do you guys have the?
Okay.
Yeah, please, okay. you can see.
Yes, there we go. So I decided to go easy on you folks. These are not horrific scenes, but I do want to at least prove the point that the stuff is happening all day long. And you heard Raphael talk about near misses, so. Yeah, for folks who are old enough, that was a Starsky and Hutch move that was attempted. So you can see that the red was on for quite a few seconds. There was no excuse. Luckily, the speeds were not horrible, and so it could have been a lot worse. Here's another interesting one, and I wanted the point of this one is to say that no one is free of risk, and I just want to demonstrate that in this scene. This is a very large intersection, as you can see in Lakeland.
Red.
And red, continuous red, red, more red, a little bit more red. Yeah, so two points I want to make about this, many points, two specific points. Notice that the bicyclist did the right thing. He dismounted and became a pedestrian, particularly for a large intersection like that. It's highly recommended. You don't have to do that. It's not like the law or anything. That is highly recommended to do that. So can you imagine if any one of those motorists moved a half a second faster or a half a second slower, there would have been complete chaos. And who knows what could have happened to that pedestrian, right? So it could have been a complete change of conversation. We're just kind of almost half chuckling about it now. And instead, it would have been a horrific conversation that had just seconds of difference. The other thing too is that if chaos did continue here and occur, and depending on the severity of the injury, that intersection would have been shut down for hours. That's a major intersection in Lakeland. So from a point of view of congestion management, it would have been a disaster. People would have had to been rerouted to different other directions. So there are, and I think Raphael talked about secondary crashes, and thank you for saying that. Most likely, some degree of secondary crash would occur on top of that. So it's like sort of like compound interest, it's compound crashes when something like this happens. Luckily, in this case, nothing did happen. It is another near miss, in my opinion. Now, this one's a little bit more graphic, so just want to prepare you. It's a little bit more graphic, so just be prepared for this one. In yellow, red, lots of red, continuous red. It's red. And this one did crash. Now, fortunately, it looks like, I didn't see the postscript on this. It looks like they were able to walk away from that crash. You can see that it was as everybody knows, kinetic energy is a factor in crashes, and so is the vector, the degree, the angle. Luckily, the angle was such that it wasn't a pure T-bone, so it was kind of slightly off angle, so hence the damage and the injuries were somewhat muted. Not zero, as you can see, it was not zero. And we don't know, of course, what the injury level to occupants might have been. The bottom line is it's not good. And in this case, they kind of naturally got out of the intersection. It's kind of interesting. And so that made it a little less impactful on the chaos associated with the intersection. So the other one, not. I'm gonna tell you right now, that the other one struck, that would have been a disaster. That would have been horrific in terms of congestion management as well. So started thinking, I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but it was a near-death experience. I mean, really, that truck just zoomed by me, like, just like a blur. It just zoomed right by me and really got me going. So I started to think, is there any way that I could have known that truck was gonna run away? That's where my brain went. Is there any way that I could have known in advance that truck was gonna run a red light? Could I do something about it? Could the system do something about it? And so we started investigating that to see if maybe could I have been stopped? So instead of me being politely beat with that polite beat behind me, I wouldn't have even gotten a green light in the first place. There's where our mind started going. Could we delay the perpendicular green? Doesn't help the red light runner. I know, they're still gonna run the red light. The question is, could the perpendicular green be delayed? And that's where the system came in. So the Intersection Collision Avoidance Safety Program, or ICAS, and again, that's just the name we picked, it doesn't matter. Anyone can personalize it the way they feel like it. We felt that it was a program that would definitely prevent crashes. And actually physically prevent crashes by predicting that a vehicle is going to run, verifying that it is a real run, and this is problematic, extending the all red phase, which basically all we're doing is extending the all red phase, and simultaneously delaying the perpendicular green a few more seconds. Then, of course, resume to normal operations. Typically, because it's an instantaneous change and not a continuous change, cycle after cycle after cycle, it's the getting back to coordination is almost instant. It's never instant. I'll be wrong to say it's instant, but it's very quick because it's spontaneous. It's not perpetual. So that makes a very big difference. And that's the whole point here, is that it's sort of a smart approach. Do it when you need it, not all the time. There's no point delaying people all the time. You don't have to. It's kind of like, I made a comment to this before, is that, any Seinfeld fans in the audience? I used to live by Seinfeld, and it was dubbed the show about nothing. Remember that, the show about nothing? Well, I sort of dubbed this as the safety program about nothing, because you don't even know it happened, right? You're minding your own business at what should have been a green light. You just delayed 3 seconds or so, and most people won't even feel that, I think. I mean, unless you got a stopwatch and you're timing your all red phase, which I doubt people do that. But somebody said, but did you say, Margaret, about good time to be a traffic engineer?
Yeah.
Well, maybe more motorists are becoming traffic engineers. And they are timing.
They think they are.
Right. Well, they have a driver's license. That makes them automatic, right? So very, very quickly, this is very similar. It's kind of like the opposite of the dilemma zone, which I'm sure folks know about, where what I found interesting about the dilemma zone when I started talking about this is that the dilemma zone, generally speaking, is that, when we approach kind of like a stale green light and you don't know what to do. Should I go? Should I not go? Hence the dilemma zone. So the mechanics of the dilemma zone says, okay, we're detecting you. We're going to extend the green time. Well, of course, you as a motorist don't know that. It's not like you got a message saying, oh, Angela, you're good. I'm giving you 4 more seconds. Knock yourself out. No, I don't know. So there's still a dilemma in terms of the motorist's mind. Luckily, there might be some safety benefits, which I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are studies to prove that, which is great. And I love that. I'm all for it. Our approach is the opposite of the dilemma zone. So instead of giving more time to green, we're giving more time to the all red phase to keep everybody back in the first place. And just generally speaking, the component parts are sensors. Typically, although I'm understanding that there's some degree of improvement in sensors now, these would be primarily on mast arms because it's very important to have the structure be fairly consistent. warning infrastructure. You saw, I think Raphael talked a little bit about cloud management, which is pretty cool. Great presentation. Thank you. And finding that talking to the system electronically to get the motivation of the call red phase. And the supplemental part was to provide a message to either in vehicle, if the original equipment say that quickly, original equipment manufacturers or OEMs would have the systems in. And I think in Margaret, you mentioned it again, that a lot more and more vehicles are coming that are having advanced driver assistant technology in the vehicle. And this is coming. The penetration rate's going through the roof, by the way. It's really hopeful. It really is hopeful. And I'll talk a little bit about this in a couple of minutes. So we started with four intersections, all on state roads, as you can see there. I don't need to go into it. And just really quickly, how it works is, in the case of Lakeland, the Econolite controllers, that was the higher end version there. Didn't have to be, we just chose it. I wanted it to be originally consistent, so I didn't want there to be any flaws. And then the sensors, basically the sensor would read the speed and distance of the vehicle and then make a decision back with the controller as to whether or not there's a necessity to extend the red and by how much. Okay, and found that roughly the delta cost of the sensors approximately $25,000 per intersection, roughly speaking. It's going to, I think the cost have actually come down now, but I could be wrong about that. But certainly it's worth an investigation. I might ask, if you don't mind, maybe if you think there will be a Q&A session, that maybe you could think a little bit ahead as to what the base cost of the standard sensors might be. Maybe give that some thought. If you don't mind, we might have a brief conversation. Unless you know what the number is now. But we're looking at a delta of about $25,000 per intersection for the sensors. So there wouldn't have to be an upgrade to the sensors. So maybe if you could think about what the benchmark is for more traditional sensors that are currently in place, it'd be an interesting curiosity. And basically that's just gonna quick, you can see the time clock going in this case to 3 seconds. And then the perpendicular green goes on. And hopefully by then, by the calculation, enough time has gone by to have the offending vehicle long gone to the intersection, or at least out of the danger zone at the very least. Is ICAS new? No, because we did not go rogue, I promise you. I look back at MUTCD a little bit worried, saying, "Oh my gosh, Angela, what have you done? It's crazy. You've gone rogue. This is nuts." No, it's right in the MUTCD, about as clear as can be. Probably because of the dilemma zone is what I'm going to guess. I don't know the history, of course, but this goes back to 2012, 2009 edition, followed by the 2012 edition. And just really, really quickly, the duration of a red clearance interval may be extended. And detection of a vehicle that is predicted to violate the red light signal indication. So basically, I just said it's basically ICAS. I mean, in the sense, it basically has given us the blueprint to say, yes, you can do this. It's optional. You can do this. It's in the book. And I went back. I got a little worried, I'll be honest with you, before these presentations, and said, "Hey, Joy, can you just go triple check, please? Maybe somebody threw a line in there. Somebody got upset, threw a line in there." And no, according to the 2023 edition, it's still in there. So to the best of my knowledge, no one has taken it out, to the best of my knowledge. So it's still there and available. Couple of quick examples. This is the dilemma zone, that particular intersection in Lakeland that was operated. So that's the opposite, right? Or the extends degree rather than delay degree. So another interesting, I didn't even know about this, but I was doing my research back then, around 2019, that there was even an application taking the dilemma zone in reverse for bicycles. Because oftentimes bicyclists could not make it through large intersections like this one here. And so there would be a delay to the perpendicular traffic, which would allow the bicyclists to go through. Much safer than, there's no such thing as safe, much safer than originally planned. We took the system working with District 1 to what's called PEARL. It's the Traffic Engineering Research Lab in Tallahassee. We wanted to make sure that even though it's in the MUTCD, it's like, we had the right to do it. We thought, oh my gosh, this is way too new. Let's go to Carroll and make sure that, everything's, in order. And so we did get approval for ICAPS, because at first all we did was data collection. And then we were able to actually implement the system, which was very, very cool. Very proud about that. Yeah, ready to go. Well, here's what's interesting. This is on me, Angela Rao. I wanted to have a backup plan that if the data, I wanted to be able to prove the data by data alone and have a visual confirmation. So I chose to make a criteria be that I'm going to only install sensors where I have red light running cameras. You don't have to, there's no requirement, absolutely not. We just felt that it would be more appropriate to have a confirmation of the data matching. In fact, I had another slide, I didn't want to show it today, that proved that, oh yeah, gosh, Fred Rethel really did run the red light at exactly 10:14, 15 seconds, right? So there'd be confirmation. That's the only reason why we chose the red light running camera locations. There is no obligation to do that. You don't have to do that. Except for point 2, which this is the one thing where I don't know, I've been doing this since 1980. 45 years of doing this work. And I don't remember ever having even in the public sector or the private sector, unanimous support of a traffic operations program. There's always some dissent. This had 0 dissent. Absolutely. No matter who I spoke to, they said, you mean they're not doing this everywhere? I said, well, no, it's new or works. The one thing that they did say was, are you rewarding bad behavior? Will folks figure it out over time? That, oh, not to worry, I got 3 extra bonus red seconds, I'm good to go. So there was that little concern. And that was another reason why I kind of stuck to my guns a little bit and said, well, I'm only going to put them in where I do have red light running cameras. So at least there'd be a citation associated with the run. You don't have to install them with red light running cameras. Absolutely not necessary at all. It's up to you or whomever the entity is. I'll just go, this is informational. For folks that are, I need to get a life, so I love this stuff. So this is just a depiction of each dot is a vehicle going through the intersection. Yellow time. In this particular case, it only had 1 second of all red time, and that's because of a railway track that immediately adjacent to it. Since then, DOT has increased, I think, to 2.5 seconds. So they've actually increased the already. The point of this slide is that all of those dots above that word green, those are runs after the perpendicular green went on. And this is just one little tiny intersection, one little tiny city every single day. In fact, from the looks of it, our studies showed that almost 100% of folks are obedient, green and yellow. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, I've run red lights. I've done it in my driving experience. I've done it, yes. I'm not perfect, it happens. Luckily, it's like a half a second or a quarter second or something, or barely into the stop bar. So these folks are probably doing that, and that's fine. So we've got about 99.71% quote unquote obedience. This is where it gets a little scary. The 0.29% in this one intersection turned out to be about 50 vehicles a day, every single day on average, running the red light after the green went on. In fact, I have to tell you, walking over here from my office, what's the typical LPI in the city? About 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds, something like that?
3 to 5.
3 to 5 seconds. So I walked over here on Kennedy, eastbound, of course, the south side of Tampa, and a vehicle. So I already had my walk signal, okay. And then I was starting to go, so I'm going to imagine like maybe within the LPI time, I saw the back of the vehicle to my right. So they must have run it by at least 3 to 4 seconds, because if I already had 3 seconds of LPI time. So just walking over here, like it's happening all day long. So this is what's going on, and I have a little bit more data here. We took a little bit more of a detailed data. It turns out to be, oh gosh, something like in the order of, what is that? Let's say an average of around 1,500 vehicles for the month at particular intersection. So that's a lot of probability for near misses, and near misses converting into a crash. So a lot of data. So we were able to, because of the data, because of Turl getting all those approvals, we were able to apply for a grant 2020, and we got a $500,000 grant awarded to us to expand the system. So we went from 4 to 25. And so the 4, as you saw earlier, became 25. Almost all of them on state road intersections. I think there are 2. You can see there by where it says Lake Somerset. There are, I think, 2 that were pure city plates out of 25. So it doesn't matter where you want to install them. Obviously, at least speaking with City of Lakeland, it seemed more appropriate to put them on state roads because that's where most of the probable cause would be. So it appears that I missed all the fun because after I left the city, along with District 1 and several law enforcement agencies, decided to shut down the intersection here at US 98 and at 3 a.m., shut it down and deliberately run red lights on purpose. They have all the fun, man. I was not able to do that. Doggone it. So there were 2 tests. One was, of course, to see if the system worked in real life. We knew it did electronically. They wanted to make sure that it worked in real life. And frankly, and more importantly, the perpendicular green did delay as planned. The end I found even more interesting. The end is that from a connected autonomous vehicle perspective, the signal went to any device that had the app associated with it. And of course, they have their own built-in app. I think my successor, Teresa Schwartz, I think she had an iPad. And we couldn't do it in 2019. There was too much of a latency to get the message through. The latency is almost 0. It's not 0. It's so close to 0. So they were very proud of that. And I thought that was great. So for example, if you have an in-car system or your iPhone or a mobile phone or an iPad, even for bicyclists and pedestrians, they could get the alert if they had the app. And at least be told, hey, this is why you're being delayed, and please stop. So next steps, they're telling me now that they're going to be doing continual data analysis for before and after crash data, of course, and near miss data, very important. Really trying to follow up on the fact of, we saw the Starsky and Hutch results earlier. How can we look at that and see if we can make amendments? I want to acknowledge, of course, Stephen Davis from District 1, Teresa Schwartz from City of Lakeland, and Dan Pressler, who is in-house at District 1, and he was a big factor in working on this project. So happy to take any questions. As I mentioned earlier, if you don't mind, out of curiosity, do you have a sense of what the baseline cost typically is for a more, shall we say, standard sensor system like a camera system, or is it in the order of 20,000 or something like that?
Yeah, it's only 25,000.
How much? I'm sorry.
25,000 for intersection for that advanced detection, video detection.
Okay, good. So I just want to get a sense that there would be an incremental cost because the sensors would be upgraded to be able to do the computation and the communication with the control. I just wanted to give you a sense of costs there. But with that, I'd be happy to take any questions or exploratory thoughts or.
Just a comment. So if I understand, what you have is an advanced detection system that is programmed to do either extend the green or the all red.
And you utilize the existing detection
Yes.
system. There's a software that basically
Yeah.
works with the detection
Well,
to basically set the
you
rules.
would be my partner up there. That's great. That's perfect.
All right, so
Yeah,
you're adding that. Okay, so
We're going to
Wait,
the
not
other
extending
end.
the
We're,
green.
we're.
you mentioned both, right? You either,
I did in the sense that there are other systems already in place with the dilemma zone that are
Okay.
already in place. I don't know how long that's been going on for years, right? I mean, we went to another level to say, I want to focus on the specificity of a red light run
okay.
crash and prevent the crash and hold folks back in the directions.
What about the components for the notification or messages to connected vehicles or pedestrian. Was that like an RSU with no BU, or were you using something proprietary?
Yeah, Terry's, and. Yeah, it was, yeah, I didn't know if it was appropriate to name vendors, but I don't think it's a problem. So it is the particular system that I'm talking about was the Iteris Vector, VECTOR, and it was an advanced, really sensor system that would not only do more traditional sensing for operations and do the computation and the communications to the controller to be able to make the decision to decide to or not to extend the red. They're interesting too, is it's kind of funny. Somebody, when I did my studies, and like we installed about 30 LPI intersections in 2015. And when we did our after studies on that, we found that definitely pedestrian bicycle crashes went down, no doubt. Went down, as everybody knows, right? Well, to my surprise, it found out that vehicle injury crashes went way down, like something like 40%. So I think what I'm getting at is that, yes, there's the operational safety, of course, absolutely. What's interesting is that there must be some quote unquote, and forgive me for using this term, traffic calming factor that is up there in the ether land, because I cannot explain how you would get a 40% reduction also in vehicle injury crashes. Something else is going on. I don't know if folks are kind of backing off and maybe becoming quote unquote calmer because they're not in a go condition. So that's an interesting study in itself to figure out, to get that bonus reduction from LPI. And this is a similar thing here because you're extending the all red phase.
Yeah, I remember that when LPIs were being looked at across the country at the crash modification factor clearinghouse.
Yeah.
They have a lot of data in regard to that, and absolutely your overall crashes go down. My understanding of that has a lot to do with you're somewhat extending the all red for the vehicles to vehicles. Because you give that 3 to 5 seconds where it's all red for the vehicles while you have the pedestrian walking, and asserting themselves and being present in the intersection.
Yeah,
So
well said.
that might be why you ended up with that.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. I
Mhm.
appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's a great concept. Not just concept, I'm sorry, but it's a really good initiative, to have this kind of information. It definitely worth further investigation, especially as many of us are working towards Vision Zero. That's huge because those kind of crashes do tend to be quite severe.
They are. Okay.
Are there more comments? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, probably didn't test in all different type of weather condition, but I think the sensors do, like at night or during a rainy event.
Yeah, that is really interesting. That's a great point, because I found that my biggest headache were the regular sensors, because they were constantly getting fogged up with rain conditions. Forget about hurricanes. That's a whole other world. And yet these seem not to have that experience, which is interesting. Now, it could be a small number. Maybe I got lucky. I don't know. But generally speaking, the sensors were fairly clean almost all the time. And it was my other sensors that I had to always babysit and have to go back and adjust constantly. Literally wiping. We had to have some maintenance staff actually wipe the other sensors, and not so much these. Great question. Good question. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any comments from online? Someone in the chat? Johnny's got one.
Angelo, can I ask if you have data on the rate of false positives? Folks who love to drive fast on intersections and test the brakes.
Yeah, that's a great question in the sense that, yeah, it's a great question. Yes, I don't have it personally, but false positives is in the data bank of where the 2 things. One, it was so on the line that it was obvious that the controller would not have to extend. And other cases where it just maybe it went to the positive safety concept and went ahead and extended. But in fact, nothing bad really happened. So we were looking at those sorts of things and I'll take the heat. I made the decision that I'd rather risk a false positive for 3 seconds than take the risk of not extending. And this would be the one time that something actually horrible would happen. The interesting thing is that it's as needed. It's on an as needed basis. So it's not always on all the time. So that made me feel a little bit more comfortable to take the, what do you call it, the abundance of caution. I'd rather have had an abundance of caution and created the extension, even if I'm wrong. And don't want to do it all. Obviously, if you want to moderate that and be very, very clean with your numbers. But that's the approach we took, was to be an abundance of caution and extend, even if it could be proven later that, well, maybe it shouldn't have in this case. The worst case scenario is I held somebody up for 3 seconds, which probably they're on their phone anyway. They didn't even show it on.
So worst case scenario, you might lose a minute.
Cumulative
Over the course of the day.
Well said. Good estimate. Yeah. And I think it's getting better and better, Johnny, to be honest with you. As time went on, we started the system in 2019. There has been improvement since. For example, the connected vehicle, oh my gosh, we were really worried back then about the latency. It was just too long. I mean, I know we're talking milliseconds. It was just too many milliseconds. And you might as well forget it. If you're going to do that, there's no point. Now, the latency is almost 0. So that's an improvement. And then the probability of a false positive is getting lower and lower. It's not 0. We're not saying 0. Yes.
So, I didn't quite catch, what was the extent, the seconds, of stating the red light? What was the sweet spot?
Yeah, that's a perfect question. Yes, thank you. So 3 seems to be the magic number. Everything happens in 3s. So it's funny how these in science, it always works out to 3. So 3 seems to be, thank you for putting it that way. Well said. The sweet spot seems to be the, on the other hand, in my personal case, I would have wanted it to be like 4 seconds or 4.5 seconds, right? For the case that I talked about earlier. But 3 seems to be the sweet spot where I don't think people really notice it. And at the same time, it's effective. And if we're wrong, and if it is a false positive, it's not quote unquote the end of the world. Nobody got hurt. That's the main thing. And so that's why, can I use that term, please? I love that sweet spot. That's cool.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure.
Good information. All right, next up, we have Wade. No. Oh, are you going Wade? And we're not gonna do Johnny?
Oh, Johnny's good. That's great. Thanks.
All right, next update we have is Block the Box from Johnny Wong.
Hi, John, CEO Director. So a couple of months back, we made the rounds to some of our committees talking about Block the Box. It was more educational and informative, explaining what that is and what some of the challenges that box blocking presents to pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists. And we also presented some solutions. And our board members really latched onto this concept. They recognize that box blocking is a real problem, especially from a safety standpoint. Wheelchair users, as a matter of fact, are some of the most vulnerable groups to box blocking, especially if the ramps are prohibited, or if the ramps are blocked by a vehicle, they have to then enter into the intersection, which puts them in an even more precarious position. So at that meeting, our board members again latched onto this. They were really keen on the idea of doing something. What that something wasn't quite so clear, but Secretary Justin Hall offered that DOT District 7 maintains an on-call contract with law enforcement, so they can call up their enforcement partners and stage a patrol car near intersections to help regulate these behaviors. And we wanted to be judicious with how we implement that, because it's not free, it is a nominal cost and DOT is going to pay for it. But we wanted to figure out what are the most problematic intersections suffering from this problem. Maybe post a patrol car there, educate vehicles, educate motorists rather than ticket, at least to begin with. And some of the notable intersections that came up from committee conversations and social media were Fowler at Nebraska, Hillsborough at both Nebraska and Florida. And my own personal issue is Kennedy at Ashley. And I'm one of those folks that just has a driver's license. I'm not a traffic ops professional, but you know, since I have you, Margaret, if I take 275 to work, I get up on the Ashley exit, I'm heading southbound, trying to get onto Jackson. When I'm at the intersection of Ashley and Kennedy, you know, where Kennedy splits and they have to go left or right, there always seems to be a lot of cars backing up through that intersection. I believe it's because of the timing on Madison. I don't want to push too hard, but when Blake, if you can do anything about that, I appreciate it.
All right, I'm texting Nick right now.
All right. But anyway, the two most commonly flagged intersections, or three rather, Hillsborough, Florida, Nebraska, Fowler at Nebraska. So we're going to be working with DOT to see if we can get law enforcement staged out there for a little while, work on driver enforcement. That's short term. Longer term, we're working on a series of PSAs. We're hoping to recruit city, county, any of the traffic ops teams who are involved in this, as well as some regular citizens volunteering themselves to be actors in our films. We want to demonstrate what the challenges are with blocking the box, the problems that it presents, because I suspect that a lot of motorists just aren't really aware that, hey, they feel like, oh, I'm just sticking out a little bit, but that little bit of vehicle in an intersection could present a real problem. So later this year, we'll be reaching out to your teams, seeing if we can recruit you for a video, and law enforcement staging is on the horizon, so you'll be seeing that. If the pilot works very well, there's an opportunity to expand. If you have any data, information, could be personal observation, quantifiable data, let us know if there are other problematic intersections in your jurisdiction. We can offer the same thing to you. All right, any questions about that?
How many intersections do you want?
We'll take as many as you can offer until DOT tells us that that's enough. We'll push them to stage at more intersections.
Thea, you've got some too, right?
I can think of that.
All right, great.
Meridian, yep. Twigs.
I'll send them to Justin.
I have one coming up. It's gonna get a signal. It's weird, but we have it configured.
Okay. All right, yeah, please, if you have any suggestions, send them to Harry. Otherwise, we'll reach out to you for the filming of the PSAs.
Okay, so I was just gonna ask that. So share them with Harry? The intersections or anything we want to offer?
Yep, send them to Harry.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
All
All
right.
right,
Well,
thank you.
thank you.
Looking forward to it.
And just wanted to note, thank you, Johnny, for that abbreviated presentation. We do have a slide deck that's part of the digital packet. If you want to see any of the things that he was talking about.
Okay. Do you have a list of things that you'd be interested in hearing from us? Like, I mean, you say intersections, but were there anything specific?
Just asking for the.
Yeah, just
Okay.
intersections where you see blocking the box, I think is.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good
I think we're
enough.
going anecdotally mostly right now.
In the
Right.
slides, I think he might have showed how some of the, but I don't know, I haven't been in a while, but like there was paint was used as a solution in some places. I don't know what everything that's in that slide deck, but take a look at it.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. All right. So we have Wade to bring us up on our traffic signal prioritization study.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you all very much for having me. I really appreciate the coordination with all of the different jurisdictions during this process. We've made some good progress. We still have some more to go. So without further ado. So the purpose of this study is to basically get a baseline for condition for traffic signals across the county and come up with a methodology to assist in prioritizing those that are not in a state of good repair for improvements. To take a step back from that, during the development of the 2050 Long Range Transportation Plan, our smart cities category did rank the highest out of all of the out of our 5 categories. And so as a result, and it also offers a lot more bang for the buck in terms of traffic management. It at a fraction of the cost of widening a roadway or doing major intersection improvements, we can potentially do technology improvements and get better throughput and better outcomes for our taxpayers and our road users. So the outcome is establishing a performance-based methodology that we can use to evaluate projects on our list of priority projects. Those we do typically divide by categories. So, and the fact that smart cities rank the highest means that those projects will move towards the top of that list. So the benefits are helping with planning and response time during emergencies, adjusting signal timings to accommodate planned and unplanned events, like a hurricane, supporting traffic studies related to Vision Zero, and serving our partner agencies as a resource coordinating signal improvements for maintaining and enhancing operations. So the Vision Zero, I'll just touch on this for a moment, would be potentially supporting projects like Angelo just described that can hit two spots on our buckets that we call them, the Vision Zero bucket or the smart cities. So you would have both a safety improvement and potentially by upgrading signals at an intersection, an operational improvement for just for traffic. So task one, traffic signal inventory. I'll get back into that in a moment because we did have some data that sort of barely overlapped. Task two is the prioritization methodology, and task three is the ranking of intersections, which I just want to say that as much as we are going to have an overall score, we can break it down by categories and see which signals. So for age and support structure, for example, we could rank just using that, and if we need to find the worst performing in any category, we can do it that way too. So the combined data set, 592 signals in Hillsborough, 586 in the city of Tampa, and 56 in Plant City. So we do have, and a lot of this is coming out of Hurricanes Helene and Milton. We do have a focus on resiliency as well. We have looked at the structural components of this, the type, condition, and age. For the cabinet, the age, the mounting type, and the height of that mounting height. That was kind of a new point for me thinking about it after the hurricanes, the height of that mounted cabinet. And I noticed in front of VIA headquarters and the Tampa Operations Center, that one of those had been raised on the pole. The cabinet was mounted to the pole, about 3 feet, give or take. And it was, as we were sort of starting to scope this, that was one consideration that really started to occur to me then. The location, whether it's within a floodplain, on an evacuation route, or within the hurricane wind zones, that is already part of I think all of our practices. I believe the mast arms or most of the city of Tampa ought to be within that wind zone, and a large portion of unincorporated Hillsborough County is too. And technology such as flood sensors. So task three, the ranking of intersections. We focused on the most vulnerable locations, but assigning a priority rank to signal elements, and then assigning a score to each element, and compare the overall resiliency score. So we would assign a number to a mast, a number to concrete, a number to straight wood, and 1, 2, or 3, and then a score to each as well. Assigning a score to the age, in this case, less than 10 years, greater than 10 years, greater than 20 years, etc. The span, wire type condition, the condition overall of the pole structure. And then for the resiliency components, within a floodplain, yes would be 2 points, no would be 0 points. A documented flood history, yes would be 3 points, no would be 0 points. And on an evacuation route, yes would be 2 points, no would be 0. So that's an effort at looking at that resiliency component for either hurricanes or other flood events. Again, this is just an intersection ranking, just an example for presentation purposes. So we would end up with a score for, each of those intersections, and we would sort based on that score. I believe the next slide has what I'm really hoping to get to, yes. And the current availability of data. So it differs widely by agency, and there is very little overlap in that. As part of this project, we have, and I'll get to this next component in a moment. We have 30 intersections scoped to basically fill in all of this data. But just because there was so little overlap, we are already working towards another task order for this project, or a follow-up task order, I should say, which will be to basically go out with your staffs and collect this intersection. Or if it is being collected, I know Raphael stepped out, but if it is already being collected, as I know Hillsborough County is doing on all of their structures, even within the city of Tampa, integrating that data into this database for scoring purposes. So to the extent that some will need to be collected and some may need to be just incorporated as it is collected by the jurisdictions, that is a task order we're looking to follow up this with. So the next step are field visits. We have the consultant tentatively suggested US 41 and Hillsborough Avenue as two that they could really get into. Those are both in low-lying areas and on evacuation routes. This is Hillsborough Avenue east of the west of the Veterans rather, here in Town and Country, which has also had some significant issues over both thunderstorms, just normal. I say normal. Is it normal to get 3 inches in an hour? I don't know, but it's the new normal. But I know this area had some issues just with what I'll call a regular thunderstorm, in addition to some flooding issues during the hurricanes. So just to touch on the schedule, we are here in this November-December timeframe, finalizing this segment of the report with the methodology. I expect we will have a follow-up meeting. We're planning to take this to committees in January, but I'd like to meet with the staffs for the county and cities, just to make sure we have everything tied up and have your blessing to take it to committees and the board early next year. So with that is the end of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions or take any comments you may have. Madam Chair, Mr. Torres.
Yes, one question. So are you also taking into account future initiatives, projects that will cover some of these intersections already? So maybe right now they're, to give you an example, they're all cabinets, but we already had them in the pipeline for an initiative to replace.
No, but we can flag those and incorporate any data that you may have out of those, and we could flag any intersections on that list and not go out and bother collecting anything else in either the current effort with the 30 intersections or the future effort to build out that database.
We have some, for example, we have some initiatives that are going to be touching cabinets, at least 2 initiatives.
Yes, sir.
Also, I saw in the challenges that you were still needing some data from Hillsborough County, or were you able to get all of it?
We were able to get what we believe is everything that exists. So as we come back and as the structural condition that I believe y'all are working on all of the signals, as that data is collected, we would be happy to integrate that. So I know we've had good communication with the county and the cities. So I think we have everything we need that is available, I would say.
Thank you. That's one question.
So going back to the corridors, those are all outside the city?
Yes, at this time, we were just looking at those 2 corridors outside the city, US 41 and Hillsborough Avenue. But if there is a suggestion, or if there's a reason we shouldn't do those ones in the county or should do something in the city, we're open
hearing on it.
Yeah, if we need to add some more data, I mean, we can do that. I don't know that that's request has been made. I don't know. But
You all have provided, to the best of my knowledge, all the data that we have requested and that exists, for the city, so.
Pardon?
We have some very old cabinets that need replacement.
Yeah. officially, like,
Yeah.
Those scores.
So,
Pretty old.
Sorry.
no, okay. Not exactly the results I was, to hone in on the cabinets. I mean, I was hoping to really accomplish with this, study is to understand more, signal poles, mast arms, and other infrastructure.
We are certainly, including that, as well. That would be the structure type, age, condition, span wire type and condition. So we do have that component as well. And, there is less data on that right now, although, my understanding is that's being collected for all of the, county, signalized intersections, including within the city. So that's the first piece that we'll be able to integrate into this. But we can, you do have a good point. Both of those corridors are within the county. We have not scheduled going out to do that, so I'd be happy to try and do a corridor in the city, one in the county, and maybe one in Plant City as well, if that would be helpful.
Well, I guess, so for the city, I mean, we're in a different space because they finished the ATMS and then we've had the I4 frame and ICM. So I recognize that we've had a lot. But yet I'm curious to know whether there's an opportunity to sort of have different buckets or different ways to identify, because we still have a lot of intersections where the poles and the signal heads are aged. And how do you get a financial stream just for those components versus the whole shebang, you know? And so there's different needs.
And that's a good point, because we also have the same need. Where some locations that signal heads are old.
So you're saying that instead of one priority, and separating priority by groups of poles, signal heads,
Right.
cabinets, instead of just intersections.
Yeah, because we have state signals that, I mean, it's taken us years to get just poles, span wire and new signal heads up
And
that literally were almost, I mean, they were below MUTCD requirements. And so my concern is that all the money is going to go to, because the controllers are old, that all of a sudden, you know, the focus is on replacing the controllers or the cabinets and that kind of thing, and not on the infrastructure of the poles and support.
Understood, and that's what I was trying to say earlier with by saying that we can strip out any one of these components, such as the age or type of structure holding it up.
Right.
And prioritize it. If it is the city's desire to prioritize signals or signal structures within the city based on the age or condition of just that support equipment, I believe we have the ability to do that using this database once it is filled out.
Okay, and then,
And that would be sort of, I know it's hard to see from where you're sitting, but
okay.
these components here at the top would be more, and we can, you know, there will sort of be a column for each, and we can sort based on the condition of those and prioritize that way.
And did you give consideration, and I'm not sure, because I haven't spent as much time in this, evaluating how to do the prioritization, but at any point, is there an opportunity that, do we need to look at, you know, is it volume of people that are being served? Does that also play into that equation? Maybe at the tail end, or is it a crash, number of crashes? I'm not sure whether it's important to separate those two because it unnecessarily weights it a little bit too heavy, or I'm not sure.
We have talked about both crash rates within a certain distance from intersections
Okay,
and about approach volumes. So, you know, if you have the highest volume intersections, I can see why you might focus on those first, right? To maximize the throughput on those. So those are two components that we do have data for. We have very good data sets for.
Right.
So we could incorporate that as well. If it is, for example, I mean, we could just say, you know, is it in the top 100 crash intersections in the county? And that could be a component as well. Just to add an extra point or 10 or whatever it might be for.
and it might be it may be like an after screening, you know, once you have some priorities based on this information, and then you have to prioritize again. You might say, okay, now we're gonna look at it from a safety and a volume, you know, service to help whittle it down, because I suspect we're never gonna have enough money to cover it all.
That's always the trouble.
Is there also data that you could use related to the wind rating? I mean, what standard was used when the signal was built? Was it rated at 60 miles an hour or at 100 or 120? Because we've had now the situation where sometimes we want to modify signals, but then we find out that the mast arms will not pass today's tests, and then we cannot touch it unless we rebuild the whole thing.
Yeah, right now we have two locations where the standards that were used were 110. And there being like two cases that really need those left turn arrows, we cannot hang them because again, our new spec is 150 miles, right? So it's becoming an issue where, you know, you want to do it for safety, but you.
We have a
cannot do it
safety
because
situation. We need to improve things for traffic, maybe change the signal heads, but we can't.
Right.
Because if we did, we would not be
Yeah,
complying with the new standards.
Yeah, Gandy, McDill, Gandy and Himes. I can't tell you what people have reached into the state, the county, the city, asking for left turn signals, and we refuse to put them up because structurally it couldn't handle
yeah.
it. Fortunately, they are on the list at the very top, from the 13 million the county sent to us, so they, were working on that, so.
No, we do not have that individual structure wind rating. We just don't have that data. But if y'all have it, we'd love to have it.
I think we could probably get that. And
We have locations where, you know, we know they're wooden poles or, you know, they are, we know the age of the intersection.
just by the age of the year it was built,
Oh,
even if we didn't have the rating, just you can safely infer that it was the standard
Correct.
at the date it was
You put
built.
it, yeah. You extrapolate, put it, you know, to new standards, it'll be.
we can work with that if you have the year built and before that date is 110 and after that date is 150. We could integrate that absolutely. So let me know.
Yeah, once you provide this list, I mean, we could certainly, if we identify a corridor, I mean, we can fill out the data. It'll just set that as a priority and go find the data for those 10 intersections or whatever, or 5 or
We
7,
have
whatever.
another one for the county.
But even in a draft stage, we'd be happy to get this to you. And if there's any data that you believe does exist in addition to what we have for all these, and this is a stripped down version. There's a much bigger, obviously, spreadsheet for this, but I'd be happy to get it to you for your review. And if there's anything else we.
Yeah, because we'd love to, yeah, we want to keep,
And we'd like to have a
advancing
stakeholder
this.
meeting in late November, early December, leading to where we.
And I think all the agencies, at the end of the day, we're looking for the same thing. Like, yeah, we have
Exactly.
age structure, we know what's basically, putting a halt into the whole process, just the age.
And frankly, we can start with the most aged structures, and then as we work our way through those issues, we can do larger components of resiliency or whatever it may be. That certainly, we certainly have some flexibility there and want to work with the jurisdictions to do what meets your needs. So.
Yeah. And DOT may be able to help with the data collection too.
I keep hearing that they have additional input.
Yeah, but I'm assuming this study does not include unsignalized intersections.
No, sir, we have just started out with signalized, but there are signal warrants for putting up signals, and we would hope that as the jurisdictions do put up signals, we could get up like a full data set like this with a new signal to build out this database and help prioritize. I do know that there are probably intersections that should be signalized that are not, and some that because they were signalized a long time ago, would be a lower priority to be signalized than they are today. That's just a guess, but I'm pretty sure it's true.
Yeah, we have a lot that we would like to convert to four-way stops or back to two-way stops because the traffic patterns changed enough. And so, but it costs us almost 30,000 just to remove a signal. So,
Okay.
yeah. Very good.
All right.
More
Well, thank you.
comments? I hadn't even checked. Is anyone online with anything? No? Okay.
Well,
All right.
for your
Thank you
time.
very
Looking
much.
forward to getting this wrapped up early
Yeah.
next year.
Good work. Good work. All right. Any other old business or new business? Oh, that's your junk.
Well, I have a few items.
Oh, there you go.
So just in the interest of time, I'll just do the most important ones. So we have kicked off a update to our crash mitigation and congestion management process, or CMCMP. So the CMP is the federally required part. We've added crash mitigation as well, so safety and congestion. Cambridge Systematics is the consultant that's helping us with this effort. And so right now, we've kind of just started this process, but we are collecting data, and then we might be reaching out to some of your various organizations if you have any more specific data on your roadways. And then at the February meeting for ITS, we'll have the first tech memo ready to present to you with some initial findings. And then also we want to solicit feedback in February if you have any thoughts about how the study is going. And the study is going to have to conclude via our work plan by June, and we anticipate that it will be essentially finished by the May meeting of this committee.
Okay.
So we'll have at least one time, and then before that, I might also reach out and try and do like an informal, like a Teams meeting with some folks if you want to provide feedback once we have like the network selected. We're going to be identifying like the most needy corridors or intersections for crashing and safety or crashes and congestion.
So you want us to bring in our Vision Zero teams or?
That might make the most sense. Vision Zero, we're currently reflecting traffic counts and anything about safety, anything that you've noticed in your various divisions, jurisdictions. So I'll send that out via email. I just wanted to say it once. That next meeting, I'll be like, hey, here's the study we're working on.
Okay.
Then next, I just want to float the idea that all of the boards are, or all of the committees are discussing potentially starting next year, I believe, correct me if it's different. If the chair of the committee go to the TPO board meeting and give a brief presentation on just what the committee has been discussing and be able to help you out with like collecting minutes and making sure we know what we've been saying. And so there are 6 committees and the TPO board does not meet every month. So at most, this would be 1 to 2 times per year. But this might be a new thing of having the actual chair instead of just TPO staff addressing the board. So I think
The Citizens Advisory Committee gets to speak in front of the board every meeting. And then we do a short, I don't even know this, but we do a short summary of what all of our committees have talked about. But it would be nice to show your face to each of the committees gets to like kind of shine that particular.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I see that. So you're the chair. It's coaching. All right, go ahead. I've heard about that. Okay.
So if one of you are interested, and then that also goes right into February, will be the election of officers. So whoever, so that probably will be whoever wants to go for next year.
It
may
don't
speak in front of
not
us.
show up because you could get
Elected. You can get elected to a position you may not want.
Elected in absentia. Perfect. Great. And then actually covered 2 items. Great. So last thing is the Livable Roadways Committee. At their last meeting, they were discussing, and I know we met at Dexter Park, so please chime in if you have anything to say about this, but they were discussing traffic signal or the prioritization of ratings for buses. And I believe they are drafting a letter that they're going to send into Park in favor of having like, extending the greens when buses are coming to signals in order to speed up bus travel and make it more frequent, more consistent. And from what I've heard is that it's the Hart buses actually have the technology to communicate with the signals to do this. It is the signals themselves that need to be upgraded. So
It's okay. We already know.
From us, it's our way.
It's the other way around.
it's the other way. Okay, I've been.
So our new controllers can do anything.
Okay.
You would just need
how
technology
you
on the
communicate.
bus side.
Yours is different than ours, though.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah, there's,
And also the program, basically to deploy those timings, is not only having the capability of doing it, it's also paying a consultant to program the priority and fine tune the priority along the corridors.
Yeah, so we
So
need
it's not, it's easier said than done.
we need a composer for the music that the controller's gonna play when the bus shows up.
it's very well put. Okay. That would be, if that's actually what should happen next, then it would be to hire a consultant to then program to develop the.
Well, we need to discuss it a little bit more in detail.
Yes,
With the
same strategy as we did with the preemption. Basically, you gotta get a consultant to
Maybe it has to be coordinated with existing preemptions that we have in our controls as well. So they need to be coordinated.
Yeah, right now, the corridors that we have in the county with priority, the system that we are using is different to what we had in the past.
Okay.
And we are starting to replace those controllers, so again, they will lose the ability on those those locations to give the priority. If we don't basically.
And we're waiting for the agreement to be finalized, but next year we will start our priority project for the school buses.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So we're still waiting for the feds to
Sure.
complete the agreement with us. Eventually,
they're at least a month behind, right?
eventually they'll get done.
And you see Dexter. So
Yeah, and the situation at the city's different than the county, so. Go ahead, Dexter. Did you have something that you wanted to add?
No, I was just gonna add, like, the last time we did configuration for TSP was with that project with Econolite,
Yeah,
and which is all done through our routers that sit on the buses today. They send the live GPS data. And then, as you mentioned, there is backend configuration that needs to be done as far as, the type of prioritization they get and that type of stuff. That was all I was gonna add. Yeah.
I'll follow up with the Conley. It was working on Nebraska. We extended it to Hillsborough and then something happened. So
Okay.
I just need to ask some questions.
excellent. That was it. No particular item. I just wanted to pass along any wisdom to our LRC liaison if there was anything to say.
Okay,
I think that's everything else. To be sensitive to time.
well, thank you. Wow, we're gonna end right on time. Anyone else have any comments, questions, closings? Okay,
Thank you for the donuts.
yes, thank you for the donuts. All right, meeting adjourned.
Some signals that are bad.
Um,